Hey, what's good? It's your boy, JGC. What the? 1,000 apologies. It is taking this so long. As I stated in the post, perfection is the enemy of good. So instead of trying to get all these fancy shots and fancy locations, let's just bring it back to the cave where this started. This is, of course, the 500 sub special video. Where I just get to sit and chill, listen to some music in the background, and answer some questions from you. So let's rip this band-aid off. The first question from two people. First off being two OGs actually from the channel. First is Neon Gaming Adventures YouTube and Wolf Anonym 9993. These both ask, why I started this, why I jumped in front of a camera. And the simple answer is it's because of something that I both love and something that really makes me nervous. So something that I love, obviously, is music. Music is a big passion. Music plays a big part of my life. And something that makes me nervous and something that I hate is pictures of me and being on video and putting myself out there. So while I can indulge in my passion, I can also work on being happy with me putting myself out there, being on video, being on pictures, and just putting it all out there for the world to see.
What did he say?
Wolf asks, when I'm afraid of the possible consequences. The consequences early on was, what would people think of me? What would my friends and family think of me doing this kind of stuff? But then again, I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. Me first, and then for anyone that wants to jump on and carry on this journey with me. I see a lot of familiar faces. Well, I see a lot of familiar comments that are always coming back asking for recommendations and requests, and it's truly heartwarming, and I get to enjoy awesome new music. I mean, heck, was it last November? I went to a Scarlord gig. I didn't know Scarlord before starting this channel. Never would have thought I would have gone to a Scarlord gig. And in the process, I damn loved it. So the possible consequences short term was, what would people think of me? Now I've got to a stage where I don't give a f***. This is mainly down to the confidence that you guys give me of being able to do this and put myself out there. So now the consequences, I don't have any. Now I just like to do the videos. I like to make the videos. I like learning editing. I like learning, production. I like how all the different stuff of YouTube works. Second, Neon, I'm reading this comment and, it means a hell of a lot to me. Something in particular that, a lot of people don't hear, and it should be, said more times. If you mean it, it should be said over and over and over again. And you saying that you're super proud of me just means a lot. He's saying that I deserve it because I work so hard on these videos. So with that appreciation, I really do take it to heart. I do take it on board, and, it keeps me motivated. It keeps me disciplined to keep doing these videos, and that's again all down to you. Wolf Neon, thank you for your questions. Okay, question 2. Who are you behind the screen? What's your backstory?
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Time to get a cup of tea, a drink, a beverage, or a bottle of water. So who am I behind the screen? Well, first thing that comes to mind is the most important. It's something that I am deeply proud of, something I am deeply privileged with, and that is, of course, being a father to my little girl. She comes first in everything that I do. She's an anchor. It's going to get a little bit deep here. She's an anchor. She's the reason that I still exist in this world, and she is a constant driving force. And being able to watch her from a newborn baby up until who she is now, it's just been incredibly moving, from all the ups and downs to all the different things that have developed her into such a caring, wonderful little lady that she is right now. So if you do see this, I love you. I'll always be proud of you. You'll always be my little girl, even if I embarrass you by dancing. Part 2, what's my backstory? Something that kind of took a good decade of my life was what I'd pinned down is my dream job, my dream career. Even though I didn't kind of envision that is where I'd end up eventually. But when you're looking back in your life and what you've done, the building blocks and all the signs were all there. For a decade of my life, I was this person. You may recognize them as the people that stand dead still or parading about, but we are also fighting infantrymen. Unfortunately, I had to leave that job, that career that I thought was the right shaped peg for the right shaped hole, because not knowing at the time that that was the perfect career for me. It was everything. It was fitness, it was job satisfaction, it was friends, it was brotherhood. It was a place where I just felt like I kind of belong. Then I had to leave there due to injuries on operational tour. But again, if I had to do it all again, would I? Hell yeah. And that's just because of the multiple different things. Like, you know, I met the Queen, I met multiple celebrities, I have gone on operational tours, I have gone to different countries for adventure training, and so I had to leave that job. I entered the rat race, so to say, though spending 10 years of my life in the military for then to be forced into the quote-unquote civilian world. It was a tough adjustment, and there's not a lot really I can put on my CV. I am good with weapon systems, I can take enemy positions. What's an employee going to do with that? So that is part and parcel of the things that I do day to day, which is starting this channel, starting multiple different projects, because now I want to become my own boss and I want to enjoy what I do. I don't want to sacrifice my time paying for someone else's dream. Granted, bills do have to be paid, I am aware of that, but ultimately I want to be able to live the life that I want to live. I want to have the time I want to spend with my daughter. So that's a little bit of my backstory. So we've got the quote hub next. Apart from music, what are your other passions / hobbies? Right now my biggest one is probably running. If you check my Instagram, that is all you'll ever see, is just me running, posting crap about running. But that lends itself to who I was. So obviously I was injured, operational tour, Afghanistan, and from that injury and hiding it and masking it, because there was an element of gung-ho and stoicism within the infantry at that time. I was medically discharged after 10 years, and, you know, going through jobs, I was at a point where I was struggling to walk and being in so much pain that, you know, just normal walking, maybe 20 to 30 meters, I had to stop and maybe sit down or do something with my back because of how shredded my lower back region was. And what made it hurt much more so was not being able to chase my daughter around a play park and be able to run after and chase her. That really kind of dug its claws into me. So when I was furloughed, when a certain global flu phenomena or disease happened, you know, I was in a horrible space, both physically with all the pain that I was going through and mentally, just because I was just bottling so much up. Then one day I was just doing some regular admin and I just put a random podcast on, you know, just some background noise as you normally do. I was doing my admin, I was listening, then I started paying attention, then I sat down, then I started watching it, then I started getting invested. Then after the podcast was done, I'd done what any sane person would really do with a kind of horrific spinal injury. Who was suffering agony nearly 24/7. I got some weight on my back and I went running. The weight weren't heavy and the distance wasn't far, but that was not the point. Point was, for me going out there running with some weight on my back, was not letting the injury control me, but letting me control the injury. And from then I have kind of stepped up the distances and the weights. So from what was a 1.5 mile run with roughly about 5-6 kgs to then for me to be able to then run an ultra, 100-kilometer ultra up and down one of the hilliest areas in England. But not just that, but doing it with 26 kgs on my back. Again, this isn't, you know, all to worship me, it's for you. No matter how deep in the hole you are, there's always a way out. If I didn't go running, damn, I don't think I'd be here today. And that's the serious truth, because running also helps me process my mental task list. So long answer kind of summed up, TLDW. Running, obviously when I run, it's always having music, and I'd say a good 70 to 80% of my running playlist now is music that I've found because of all of you. To parallel with the running, I am a big proponent for men's mental health, or just mental health in general. Now, as men, we don't talk. Hell, I don't talk, but I still bang that hypocritical drum that we should start talking and we should keep talking. And the reason why I run with all the kit on is a physical representation of the stuff that we have to carry every day. And I just want to be able to A, say that it's okay to share it, and B, that people are here to help you carry it. So yeah, running, trying to be the best that I can be, and a little bit of mix at the moment, a little bit of Crimson Desert. Cool, next question. Apart from all the music, who are the inspirations in your life? Who do you look up to? So this could be a damn long list, and this is more centered with the people that I know personally. Kind of first and foremost is my mum and my grandma, who both raised me, tried to control such a little shit that I was, and it was those two that kind of really supported me through my military career. You know, getting shoe boxes from my grandma full of Rice Krispie squares in a random hill outside Musakala was the best thing ever. And I think the best way I can explain it was through their support, kind of through their guidance as a kid as well. Yes, I was a bit of a tearaway kid, I was a bit of a runaway teen, but then I hope that I made them proud, you know, especially when they came to visit me in Windsor. I think this was pre-op Herrick 7 when they both came and visited with my uncle as well. I just wanted to be able to show them that, you know, this person that you helped raise has become this soldier, this person that has a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging now. So first and foremost, yeah, my mum and my grandma. Second off, you know, there'll be multiple people from my regiment that I could suggest, but there is one particular guy that kind of knew me a little bit more than most should, who has seen me naked more times than probably anyone, and vice versa. That's AM. I love you, brother. And one that I see on a regular basis now. So again, CM, I love you, brother. My mind's a bit of blank, so if I forgot anyone, I am really sorry. And it's nothing personal, it's just that I am not the greatest thinker, hence why I went to the infantry. I don't really kind of do celebrity heroes, but one person that had a big effect in my life was Chester Bennington. His voice was a kind of the soundtrack of me growing up. And to go back to a previous question, this person is one of my heroes, and he was the guest on the podcast that kind of started my whole running journey, and that is of course Enhance David Goggins.
Real talk, some of you motherfuckers piss me the fuck off.
If you don't know him, I'll link him down below along with the podcast that ultimately saved my life, and it was through his words and ultimately his actions that led me to do all these different running feats of, you know, I ran my first 1.5 miles in years, to then led up to a 5k, to a 10k, to then a half marathon while upping the weight, to then a marathon, to then an ultra marathon, to then trying to run the length of the UK kitted. It didn't go down well, but I tried, and it was down to him. So David Goggins, if you call him a celebrity, but you know, he is one of my heroes. Okay, last question. Who is your favourite band/artist? That is a difficult one. That is a damn difficult one. It's tough because of my musical interests now are so varied now because of this channel. You know, Scarlord being one of the top ones, along with Sim have kind of wedged themselves in that I find playing quite a lot, especially Gunshots. And the album Scarlord done with Cordell is one of my favourite albums in recent memory. If I have to pick, I'm gonna cheat, I'm going to pick two, and these are from two different various stages of my life. So the first one, as you heard kind of previous, it is called, of course, Linkin Park. When Hybrid Theory dropped when I was a teen, yes, I'm that old, it was my soundtrack to pretty much everything. And then with the release of Meteora, that was just teen angst to me in heaven. Then as I kind of delved deeper into kind of like more different music, more harsher, heavier music, but it was one band in particular that caught my ear, and I remember what and I remember when. I went to Download Festival, can't remember what year it was, but we just got the tickets, we just got in, and the first act opened the stage, and wow, they brought the energy, they brought it, and I mean they really brought it. But I remember this first band because they came one of my favourite bands of all time. And then after Download, I kind of forgot who this band was, what songs they had, and it wasn't until I just randomly put on the radio to BBC Radio 1's rock show at night time that I heard Beautiful, the gorgeous drum intro, and I heard the song, and the radio DJ said, and that was Trivium with Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr. And from then on, I have been a diehard Trivium fan. So it's Linkin Park and Trivium that are kind of like my favourite artists. If I got to suggest an album, Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park, all day long. With Trivium, a lot of people say Shogun, but for me, with the variations they can do on that album, from hard hitting riffs to experimental kind of end of album music, it has to be in waves. And I know I've kind of got a little blur going on, but just above where my daughter's artwork is, there's two pictures here of me meeting the guys from Trivium. I know viewer retention at this point is going to be 0.00001, but if you're still here, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on this journey. Thank you for, you know, if you're here recent or if you're here from the beginning, you know, I truly appreciate you all, you know, that have come along the journey, that watch the videos, that like, and that have subscribed, and even better, commented. Because while subscriptions and likes are always good, for me it's the recommendations of new songs, new artists. I wouldn't have heard of Scarlord, I wouldn't have heard of Sim, I wouldn't have heard of many other people that are now in my current rotation, and that's all down to you. Because I've been me, I'll always be me, you've been you, always stay you. And this is JC out.